Dobar dan. Kako povećati globalni udio ekološke poljoprivredne proizvodnje? Kako povećati potražnju za ekološkim proizvodima? Te kako naplatiti stvarne okolišne i javno-zdravstvene troškove konvencionalne poljoprivrede? To su pitanja kojima se bavi Međunarodna federacija za ekološku poljoprivredu još od 1972. godine. Njezin predsjednik, Markus Arbenzom, nedavno je u Zagrebu predstavio novu globalnu strategiju za ekološku poljoprivredu.
Mr. Arbenzom, certified organic agriculture doesn't even make up 1% of global agricultural land or food consumption. Why is that so?
You can call that a lot or you can call that a little. I think it's a lot, no? Because 1%, there's no other sustainability standard, no other certification scheme that really reaches 1%. In that sense, it's not bad, but of course, we also consider it not enough, not sufficient. We would like to get more, and we would like to be more inclusive, and we would like to be more system relevant.
What are the main achievements of organic agriculture movement so far?
Yeah, that's a good question, because one can say, what did you achieve inside the movement? What is now improved in farming in all these years? But I think the biggest effect is actually beyond organic agriculture, means reminding conventional agriculture of how to improve their own practices. So, for example, factory farming for animals, for example, monocultures. For example, many practices are nowadays criticized because we realize that there are other ways, and organic agriculture shows an alternatives how to do and how it works. And 1% is not much, but 1% is sufficient to showcase that it works.
What about complaints about economical viability of agriculture, organic agriculture? Are there any improvements in the yields?
Well, economic viability and yields is not the same, because you can have high yields, but at the same time you have high cost with it, high investments, indebted farmers, and all that leads actually to low profitability. So if you want to look at economic viability for farms, you have to look at other criteria. And many studies actually show that organic farmers in many cases actually, or sometimes you can even say most cases, are economically better off than their conventional colleagues.
Are this green food is only for rich people, or is that some common sense?
Yeah, of course one can say, okay, there is a price premium, there is a relatively high price because of high quality of product, so there is a justification. But this is not our intention, this is not our ambition, not our purpose. Our purpose is actually really to feed the world, which we can if the world goes actually for other strategies, and if systems would actually orient themselves more to true sustainable systems instead of just short-term profits and short-term benefits with reduced reductionist thinking and just with this monoculture industrial approach.
You gave a lecture here in Zagreb about Organic 3.0. It's a strategic paper. What kind of changes of culture and spirit, as well as institutional and strategic reforms, are you advocating?
You know, what we term Organic 3.0 is a technical term for inside, is something that we say, yes, we should be innovative, we should be forward-looking, and what we have invented some 100 years ago is actually still very relevant for today, but it's not our future plan. So we not orient ourselves to the past and to what has been achieved, but we want to orient ourselves to the future and to new ideas. So, for example, a culture of innovation is very important. That's what we want. It's quite important that we do not look only at standards, because standards are very static. We just look at what has to be achieved, what has to be done, but we look at continuous improvement. We would like actually to continuously engage, to make sure that we work in harmony with nature, to make sure that we work in cycles, that we work based on biodiversity. All that actually needs continuous improvement for people and the planet.
Could you explain the other 5 pillars of the strategy for Organic 3.0?
Well, yes, there are a few points. For example, we say certification is only one aspect of organic agriculture. There are other aspects. We can actually showcase our integrity also with direct relationship from farmers to the consumers. We call that participatory guarantee system, where you have a group of farmers, a group of consumers, and they agree with each other of what should be done, what should happen. And based on their relationship, actually they build trust, and they work rather than sending an external certification body based on papers on relationship. So this is one of these features. Another feature is, for example, that we advocate for true cost. So that we say those who create damage to the environment, that they should also pay for it. There's a polluter pay principles. So, for example, if you pollute the water through fertilizers, or if you get risks with genetically modified plants and animals, then you should also be liable for those costs you create and those risks you create.
But how to charge the real cost of food to the powerful global food companies?
Here, the governments do play a crucial role in it. So the governments actually are responsible for an environment for farmers which is conducive. Conducive actually not only for cheap food in the cities, but also conducive for the environment, for the communities, the farming communities that live on farming, and so that we have an environment that helps actually people also to feed their people, to have nutritious food actually, and that we have real food on the table and not just industrialized food, and not only working on calories but also working on taste, for example, working on quality, working on pleasure, working on culture. All this food, agriculture is a culture actually, food is a culture, and we should maintain that.
But the governments won't do it until the voters ask for it, am I right?
Of course, governments are also prone to pressure. Pressure from the economy, pressure from the people, pressure from actually what the society wants. If society prioritizes cheapness of food, it's a different thing if society prioritizes the culture of food and agriculture and wants to have actually true cost and wants to have actually those which are maybe not so powerful also make powerful in terms of advocating for their rights. I take one example of clean water. We all need clean water for drinking. If agriculture pollutes this clean water through pesticides use and fertilizer use, then the government needs to clean it. So who pays for that? Nowadays, it's actually usually the government. It's not actually those that pollute.
Thank you for the interview.
Welcome.